Hey, in terms of improvisation, can you talk about people will be disappointed if I didn't ask you about your time playing with Phil Lesh? What the two of you, aside from the fact that you were running to learn the tunes the day of the gig, what did you take away from that?
We talk about the zone, like you want to get to that place. Well, Phil is hooked the main line to the zone. He takes you there so fast, and it's so strong. It's just like just riding a current, It's like if you're open to that and you get in his wake, it's just like, I love it. It's so addictive musically. I just love it. And also, he's such a Zen master. We talk about, learning from the master musicians of New Orleans or the blues masters in Memphis and Mississippi. Well, what he's done with Terrapin Crossroads is so intense. Here he is, like in his 70s, hiring musicians who don't know his music, bringing them into his home, and having the patience to teach them by hand his own material. That is uncalled for generosity. You know what I mean? It's like, it's amazing.
What kind of role, you mentioned earlier, like Bruce Hampton would specifically, people who in his band would tell them precisely what he wanted to do, or at least have some overarching philosophies. In terms of Phil, what guidance, direct or indirect, does he provide?
Never stop talking to me is basically what I learned from him. If I'm quiet for a split second up there, like meaning that I stop playing, he'll hear it like that. He wants you to constantly communicate and talk. He doesn't see anything as a solo. You're not soloing. You're communicating all the time. That would be, I think, the golden rule for him. Learn the songs, know the songs is great. Interpret the songs your own way. Certain things he wants to be there some days, some not. But I think he really is just looking for an intelligent musical conversation. That's what he's looking for. And he uses his songs as his vehicle to talk to us. We don't we talk off stage, just like we do, but the real conversation happens on stage. That's where you can really tell. I think as far as what I've learned too is, I think is to come personally, come prepared. I didn't have that before. I was relying too much on just my raw talent. So this is pretty new to me, to study, to really spend time with work. And I do the same for my own set. I never used to do that. I write set list a week or two in advance sometimes, and then I actually visit my own set list and I skim through it myself so that I know the atmosphere that I'm looking for a certain, let's say the cap. So you look at what the cap is, how large it is, how many people, how many are standing, how many are sitting, what kind of song should I have, and what should my role be that night. That's what I got out of him. Be prepared for the show. You don't have to, dictate something that's pre-written, meaning that you over-rehearse it. It has to be free, but be prepared to come playing that one set that you're gonna do. This is what you're gonna do. Be prepared to play this set. And that was not me before. I was much more New Orleans, where you just like, which song you wanna do? Hey, do this one, like very off the cuff. And I gotta say, I enjoy doing the new way. Being very prepared feels great.
In terms of all those Garcia Hunter songs that it sounds like maybe you had some passing familiarity with, if at all. I'm curious to what extent, in learning those and in engaging them in some way, had some impact on your own songwriting.
NMO is a perfect example of that. His whole experience, like when I heard all those Water songs, the Space Dust, all the songs he wrote, because we shared this experience together, and I knew his music, his repertoire before. I was like, wow, this is like Southern Coast psychedelia. At first I was like, oh wow, I can hear the California influence, that whole, but then I was like, oh my God, that's Gulf Coast psychedelia. It really blew my mind because there's when I heard that. But those songs, that's what translates. It's like,
yeah, you're right.
Those lyrics. I mean, Hunter is right there with Bob Dylan as far as embracing and extending the American folk vernacular. Like, his lyrics are timeless. And you go play the Cat when we were playing or wherever, and yeah, kids are dancing and whatever, but they're also singing every word. You know, this like, it's not, and even, okay, so there's that, boom, okay. The music, you know, he's like, oh yeah, we're jamming. No, those are the headiest arrangements. Those are the hardest instrumental sections. You know, they make it sound so effortless, but it is extremely cerebral what they're doing. And it's like on track, you know, they're all together. They're not screwing up the arrangement, you know, for the most part. At least we slaughtered some stuff just triumphantly on YouTube, just like.
I felt so bad. Some poor fans, yeah.
Phil said at one point that the Dead's thing was like, never play it the same way once. So, you know, that's what he's looking for.
And, we had this idea out of Terrapin, too. What's going on, Mike? We had this idea at Terrapin. You remember that time we were talking about different ways to play the music? And because you had this thing, what's it called, Telstar?
Yeah.
You know, where you just get together and you just improvise, just like the Word, you know, what they're doing. So we were discussing different ways. What we were talking about. But, you know, the idea we had was, so we were talking backstage, and I was like, and we came up with this idea of taking one song and everybody plays it and recorded. No, everybody is mic'd in a different room and sits in a different room, but plays for the same audience out at the, you know, Terrapin. But we can't hear each other. But there's only a count off and then play it. So imagine, and you can choose your own key. Now that would be disastrous. Oof. Can you imagine it? And Phil thought it was the most amazing thing ever. That would be just fantastic. It would basically be like 5 or 6 different versions of a song coming at you at the same time. One would be real slow, one would be real fast.
I wasn't involved.
One in B. You weren't involved?
I wasn't there.
In B flat?
That must have been Krasno or somebody else.
Man, John Kay. That would have been so trippy, though. I would love to do that.
Phil gave me a great compliment at one point, because it's funny, growing up, my friends and I, we used to fight and argue about music, you know, and my thing was the Allman Brothers and Jimi Hendrix. When it comes to that, that's what I was into. And all my friends liked other bands, but I'm real easily influenced, so I protected my input, you know? So, but then thank God, hanging out with the Black Crowes and Chris especially, the music was there. So learning, as I went to learn the repertoire, I was like, oh yeah, that song, of course, I know that song, I know that song, I know that song. It was great. Chris like schooled me for 3 years on the Grateful Dead music. So, and also my wife, just growing up, you can't, you know, it's part of American life, you know. But what I recognized were influences, because I'm old-fashioned and my father is the same generation. Even though I didn't study Jerry's playing, I know all of his influences intimately, you know? So I could find my own way there. And that was really sweet. And even there was Pigpen had a style of just like kind of that white boy soul front in the band thing that I knew intimately from my dad and his friends in Memphis. So when I started going into that, Phil was like looking at me, he's like, damn. And then I was kind of even like starting medleys that weren't on the set list, you know? I was like, little just fear, you know, being bold on the bandstand. But at one point he's like, son, you have the proper type of mind. I was like,
You sure do.
Last question, and then.
All right.
So I'm curious, you're out here together in this collaborative project. I guess my question, it's a somewhat compact one, but a complex one. What led you to decide to go in and record together and tour together? And what can people expect when they come out and can see a show of NMO?
Well, I think it started with that a little bit, the SSA tour. Now, like we said before, we worked together a lot. The SSA tour, we started to communicate on a song basis. And I think the last tour, when you listen to my songs, something happened there to some of the outcasts, some of the songs that weren't going to make it.
That's right.
There were things there. And then at the sound checks, I would play some old stuff. They said, that's just like my dad's old shit, you know. So we were like, okay, now what if the two of us do something that is not just the two of us playing our shit, but it is something that we have created together as be the third part. And so we went in just to make an EP, 5 songs. And in 2 days, we had 11 songs. So we said, I guess it's an LP. I think that's what it was. It was an extension of one project leads to the next. And
We have good chemistry.
I adore these guys. I mean, I'm a huge fan. Love Cody and Luther so much, and it seems natural to just go play.
Okay.